Hello, hello.
There they are.
Hey, I guess we're live. I forgot to run the intro. Should I run the intro now? Let me see. Media assets. They didn't set up the
No,
intro.
it's
Oh,
fine.
you know
We
why?
can just let's just spend more
Because
time
it was
together.
me. I'm the one who set this up instead of John. So
Blame
everybody. Blame me instead of John. So anyway, welcome to For Collectors, guys. This is our end of the year show. Welcome back to For Collectors, the channel that is for collectors like you and I. So there you go. I got the little
That's
intro
the
in.
intro.
And I know Mike and Jason are out of breath because they had to run from Alex's studio all the way over here.
I didn't even get to go back by hair and makeup or anything. So
Right.
The way that I planned this show was to invite guys that I thought had great stories from 2025 and stories that maybe didn't start out so good but ended up good. And so I wanted to make it one of those things where we looked back on 2025 fondly. So there's going to be no talking of shill bidding or PSA or purchases of this company or that company. We're going to stick to the good stuff. We're going to stick to the YouTube good stuff too. Like when we met up at shows, when we had hangouts, when we got good cards, when we had friends do this for that for us. So that's kind of the way I wanted to keep it. So we've got Aaron. Good morning. Good morning. Yeah, good morning. I'm in good shape. Good evening, sir. How are you?
I'm awesome. Glad to be here.
And Orlando, always great to have you.
Thank you, Dan.
And I know we're gonna talk about some stuff with you that people are gonna be curious about, since if anybody watched your your walking live stream, which I did, I was happy to see you do that. I think it was on Christmas Eve, right?
Yep. Just a few days ago.
Didn't look like Christmas Eve. It looked like Florida.
It's still 75 degrees here and sunny. So it's not sunny now, but it's been a great day.
And Mike, how are you, sir?
I am great. Mi amigo mejor está aquí, Orlando.
Muchas gracias, Mike.
Mike, I watched your the hobby, was it the night before Christmas hobby version? That was fun to see again. And of course, watched your recent video about the new house construction, which was pretty exciting to see. And as I told you in text, I got top bunk, baby. I'm calling top bunk.
Well, you and Orlando are going to have to fight over it because Orlando's moving in. I'm bringing him in. He's going to be my my best friend at the new house. So.
Love it. Even if I have to live in that little shed in the back, I'm good.
Pretty cush.
One bedroom apartment. Mike,
Yeah.
there are one bedroom apartments in New York City smaller than that. So
I'm sure there are, and they cost $4,000 a month or something.
Right.
And Jason, I thought you left YouTube. I don't know what happened. You took 11 days?
It was a long hiatus for me. I think it was 11 days, right? So that's like, I'm not on a live. I took Don's place as Donnie live stream. I haven't been around for about 11 days, but yes, I'm back in the swing of things.
Well, that's cool. Like all of us, you had family obligations.
Yep. Yeah, a lot of fun family stuff, and kept me busy for several days.
I hope all of you had excellent Christmas. I did. My kids were all home, which was wonderful because 3 of them don't live with us anymore, which is nice. Anyway, let's go to the chat because we got almost 60 people in the chat already. And we got a lot of comments. Hello, dog ate my card. How are you? I missed you in Philly. I'm sorry about that. We got a next Philly show. Lou Rock is here. Sven is here. Ruben Snyder, hello. How are you? Mike Jayhawk is here. Dane Classy Sports Cards, hello. Dane Classy Sports Card has a great new video. Guys, go and watch it.
Is that just because you're in it? Is that because you're in it?
Yes, it is.
No,
it's awesome. Go watch it, guys.
I should get people away from it if it was that, because I look like a jackass because I'm the one laughing about it. And then there was all these serious things. I know Orlando and Theo both won awards, and they were very serious about it. And I was a jackass. So, but go watch me be a jackass. And then the other two, which are Chaz in Whitetail. I'm not familiar with you, sir, but good evening. Drew Clean Sheep Shots, good evening. Peacemaker Card, that is Dave. Laura, how are you? Chris C. Douglas. Peter. Hello, eBay. eBay made a really nice comment on one of my videos recently. Thank you for that comment. No, we're not saying that at all. Sports Guru here, Ray from Philly. Hello, Ray from Philly, star of the Philly show, which is one of my highlights of the year. 2025 was drama free. Well, this show was drama. Carl Terrell, all the way from Australia. Hey, Phillies guy, awesome. Who else we got? Steven, how are you? Who am I missing? Ray from Philly was there. Lou Rock, everybody. Skullball, I don't know who you are, but hello, sir, and thanks for tuning in. And we got Steel City. Dan, how are you, Dan? Who was at the Philly show? We had a great time together. A fine card collector. That is Jeff. How are you, Jeff? I noticed in from the show that you guys were just on. Oh man, we got a lot of comments here. Mookie Chilson is here, of course. Thank you, Mookie. Killebrew Collector. There we go. Chris from Missouri is here. Hello, Chris. How are you?
Oh, now we can start. Chris is here.
Jeez, now that Chris is here, holy crap.
Jake is here. Hello, Jake. Mike. Sexton, Kentucky Cardboard. I don't know you, sir, but you are. Thank you for coming in, Ryan Ryan McClanahan, who we hung out with at the Shriners show. Oh, okay. There's Darren's brother. Get mad at me. Lonely Basement. All right, we got a good group here. All right, 71. Damn. So let me throw it out to the. We could start however you guys want to do it. We can take however long you want. And wait, let me take that off the screen so we can see everybody's face. All right. So I was thinking that we had some things that started out bad and ended up good. And the thing that I was thinking about was Mike. And Mike, you know, when the whole thing went down with the YouTube get together at the National, I thought to myself, Mike is going to catch so much crap for this. He's going to get all the trolls are going to come out. He's going to get roasted, etc. And I was worried about it. Because you and I had conversations where you talked about some of the comments that you didn't like on some of your videos. And, you know, and I'm sensitive to that too. I've deleted stuff where people said mean things about me on my videos. And so I thought you were going to catch a lot of crap for that. And, you know, it was actually the other way around. That people came up and said, hey, this guy's done this thing for so long. There's nothing he could have done about it. And the National were the people who screwed us up. And it wasn't Mike. And Mike did everything he could. In fact, he made, what was the phrase people used? He made lemonade out of lemons. And I felt like the hobby really came, the community really came behind you. And it turned a thing that could have been bad into a thing that ended up being pretty good. And I felt really good for you about that. Even some of your frenemies like Carlos had you on to talk about it. And he was super nice about it. And I know you guys have had, you know, good times and bad, but, you know, tell me, talk about it. Tell me to shut up and you talk about it now.
I don't know. I still have mixed feelings about it here, you know, 6 months later, because I feel like the whole point of that event is for people to connect, right? It's the whole point. First time I ever met Orlando at that event, you know, and we gave each other a big hug. And like, I mean, it's meant to connect people, and so many people, and, you know, I hype it up for months. Everybody else is hyping like, hey, you got to go. There's people that go to the National just to go to that, you know, or that's a primary reason. And for it to get essentially blown up before we even start freaked me out. I was insanely disappointed. I was dealing with a very serious personal issue that some people know, and it was weighing on my mind and my heart in that moment. And I'm like, are you kidding me? You know, I tried to do everything but buy the hotel in the moment to relocate it right there in the hotel, and they were having none of it, and and we had done it at that exact spot 3 prior Chicago Nationals. So but the response was overwhelming. There were so many people there, and it was so amazing. And poor Justin, you know, who was a rock star, Justin Hirsch from Rabbit Hole Auctions, who was sponsoring the pizza and had bought all the pizza and was just doing everything he could, and people showing up, helping out and willing to. We walked all over, that area of Chicago trying to find a place to go. And so many people had to bail, and I get it. They moved on to other places. And because I didn't have a solution until we finally just ended up on the grassy knoll and ate pizza. And it ended up being as good as it could be given the circumstances, I think. I thought I was going to get absolutely tortured. I didn't even go to the show the next day because I didn't want to hear it from anybody. I didn't want to talk to anybody. And I caught an early flight home to be with my daughter. And again, people that know the story, but it was bad. And like, I needed to get home like immediately. And I only stayed for that event. And then it turns into the shit show that it turned into. And then, but it was good for what it turned out to be. But I feel like I disappointed so many people who were looking forward to that event and looking forward to people. I heard about, hey, I can't wait to meet so-and-so at this. Hey, just meet me at Mike's event. We'll get to connect and all this. And a lot of that didn't happen. So it makes me sad that is true. But did the best I could in the moment and would have done it completely differently, obviously, if I knew what it was going to be, what it would have turned into. I would have completely changed gears and done it different, like we did in Cleveland, or whatever. I would have had an offsite venue, but because it wasn't a money problem, it wasn't, I had plenty of people that were willing to pitch in and help and make it all happen and all of that. So I had money from the previous year, to put towards it, like all kinds of stuff. So it was just a bad event, or a bad circumstance, I guess is the best way to put it. The event was fine, but yeah. So I don't know. Y'all tell me what you think.
The thing is that you didn't get roasted, unless I don't know. I didn't hear it. What I heard was people coming behind you, coming up and supporting you.
No, I did not. It was amazing, actually, the support that I got. People, it was, but I didn't know that. The next morning, I'm thinking, oh my gosh, I'm not even going to the show. I'm just going to go to the airport early and catch my flight and get home to my family and stuff. But yeah, it was shockingly not bad. I couldn't believe it. So.
Yeah, I think there was a lot of, you have to use a little bit of common sense for those. You've explained how you've gone about this for years, Mike. So there's an understanding that it's kind of like people who are kicking in money are kicking in out of the kindness of their heart. The expenses are coming at the cost of those who are helping out. So I think everybody understood that, it was well beyond your control. The reality is, if you were there, it was happening in the moment. Like, we were there early, and then all of a sudden you came in and I saw you talking to the hotel, and like within seconds it was, okay, we got to leave. Right. So then you literally have, and people were already pouring in. So you literally had minutes to make a hair trigger decision, and it was getting done. Everything was done on the fly at that point, but that's the only thing you could do, to get that notification, to then later find out it's the National itself, kind of putting the kibosh on things, is disgusting in a whole nother realm, but I don't want to talk about that. The reality was how it ended up was the best that it could have ended up in that situation. And yeah, people split off, and I understand. I split off, I was there for a little bit. I'm like, I'm going to go split off. But the way that it ended couldn't have ended any better than it did based on the situation that occurred at that moment in time, in my opinion.
Thank you.
Absolutely. I totally agree with that.
Yeah.
So I know some people have been waiting, if they watched your video, Orlando, been waiting to hear, but I just wanted to talk about, after Strongsville, we all sort of got a gut punch, and, some of us didn't know. And when when I got the notification, Orlando has a new video, I watch your videos all the time. And it was that video where you were taking a walk and telling us about your situation. And the community was just unbelievable. It almost immediately, I know Tony Southern Collector got us all together and said, hey, let's make a video. Let's everybody do like a 2-minute video, and I'll put it all together. I'll edit it. I'll put it out, and we'll just talk to Orlando, to the camera, and be talking to Orlando. And, I thought I watched the whole thing twice, and I felt like, man, this is. I feel good about this. I feel like maybe we'll make a difference. Maybe we'll help. Maybe we'll boost his spirits, and that'll help a little bit. But again, I should shut up and I should let you talk because Orlando, this story is about you. And so, if you have anything to tell us, I would welcome it today. And anything you want to talk about with regard to what happened back in, I guess it was in May, right? So.
Yeah, I mean, it's this year for me has been the worst, but it really has been the best year. If you look at it, I'm usually look at the positive side of things, but it's been the best year for me, I think, ever, because of the support that I've had from the community. And I don't know if I would have been able to overcome all this stuff without the community support and what everybody has done for me. And I'll talk a little bit about that in a minute. But first, when I found out, in December of last year, I got a new doctor. My old doctor retired, and the new doctor comes in and basically looks at all my records and say, "Oh, you haven't had all these tests done. A colonoscopy. I've never had any of that stuff done." And she decides that we're going to do a chest X-ray and some other tests and all that stuff. So when they did that, they found a small tumor on my lung, on my right lung, and I didn't think anything of it. I'm a healthy guy and didn't feel anything. Everything was fine, no problem at all, and went on with my life. And then all of a sudden, set up another appointment, and the doctor keeps calling me. You need to come to the office, and I'm one that I hate doctors. Like all of us probably, we don't like to go to the doctor at all. So in mid-January or so, she calls me and says, "No, I need you to come and we need to talk." So I go see her, and she tells me, "You've got a tumor, and we got to have it checked out. It doesn't look real good, and this and that." And I'm okay. We'll work on that. So she schedules a bunch of tests and all that for February. In the meantime, in January, in the middle of all this, I get elected to the YouTube Hall of Fame. So I'm like super excited, even though I heard a little bit of bad news, but I didn't know how bad it was. I'm up in a high at this time. I think I got the most votes and all this and that, and it was just the best moment of my collecting life to be in the YouTube Hall of Fame with Mike and all the other great guys that are in there. So February, I go back, they run some tests and stuff, and basically he says, "Look, it looks like it could be cancer. We'll have to do more tests." And, eventually they had to go in there and take a little piece out, a sample. I forgot what they call it. But anyway, they went in there and
Biopsy.
A biopsy. They did a biopsy, and they determined that in March, I went back and they said it's cancerous, and we're probably going to have to operate pretty quickly on it and get that out of there. And I'm not too concerned because it's, like I said, I feel 100%. I feel great, no problem at all, and it was a small tumor. And so I'm like, okay, I've got to go to Strongsville. So I went on to Strongsville. I told the doctor, let's, put it off a little bit. Let me go to Strongsville. So I went to Strongsville, and I told Mike about it. I didn't want to say anything to anybody because I'm not I don't want to be a Debbie Downer at this great event, hanging out with all my buddies, But I did tell Mike, and I told Mike Petty that, I was going to get a little operation there.
Strongsville. That's not cool, man.
Well, that's why I didn't want to tell everybody else. So I had to share with Mike. Mike is, the first YouTube channel I followed, and really we're like brothers. Our birthdays are one day apart, and I just feel close to him. He goes to Cuba and my home country and does a lot of good things there. And so I told Mike, and that was that. I didn't think it was going to be too bad. And then as time goes on, I start seeing the lung specialist, and then the cancer guy, and then the guy that's going to operate on me. So so when I go see the guy that that's going to operate, he starts telling me and kind of scaring the hell out of me because I've never had an operation like that. And basically he says, look, it's a very delicate operation. We're going to have to remove a part of your lung, maybe half the lung. We'll see how it goes once we get there. And, he says, did you prepare your will? And I'm like, what? He's like, well, it's going to be okay. You're going to have an 85 and 90% chance of survival. I'm going, what? I'm freaking out already, He says, starts explaining, of course, they got to have you sign all these paperwork and stuff and saying they're not liable for anything. And he starts telling me, it's your lung and it's your heart is right there. And you could have some bleeding because all those blood vessels are connected to your lung. And we're going to take out a big part of your lung and so and so. And I'm freaking out. And at this point, I said, I'm going in for the operation. And I haven't told anybody other than the family. And the day before the operation, I go for a walk and I'm saying, I better just go ahead and let everybody know what's going on because, this guy says I got a chance of not making it. This literally is going to be my last video, so I figured, let me go ahead and just let everybody know what's going on at that time. So I did that video as I was walking and, that's when everything kind of hits you and you're thinking, uh-oh, I got my will together now and it's not doesn't sound too good, but anyway, and he said, you're going to have to be in the hospital for a couple of weeks. So the operation goes and the operation went great. Even though they took out a third of my lung, the whole bottom lobe of my right lung was taken out. They took out other lymph nodes and things like that because they had to make sure and check out and see how far the cancer is spread. And after all that, he comes back in the hospital. And at this time I shut down my phone completely because I'm going into the operation and I released the video the morning of. And about 2-3 days later, I turned my phone back on because I had been under all this, drugs and stuff. And I mean, they gave me some pretty heavy stuff to kind of knock me out and painkillers and stuff like that. So I turned on my phone and my phone had blown up. I mean, I had like 100 texts, tons of missed calls, tons of messages. I go on YouTube and the first thing I see is the video that Tony did, Southern Collector. And you guys most of you guys are on the video. And I can't tell you how much that lifted my spirits. I mean, the texts and everything was great, but that video just really, I was down and out, and I just got up, I sat up, and I told the doctor and the nurses, hey, I'm good. I'm going to be good. I'm going to beat this and that. And the next day, the doctor comes in and says, well, this is what we got. We went ahead and we checked everything out. And then, again, I'm on a high because everything's so happy that the community is all behind me. And then the doctor tells me, well, the cancer has spread and it's actually stage 3 cancer because it's gone into my lymph nodes and it got into all my lungs, but it hadn't got into other organs, thank God. But stage 3 is not a good thing. Once you get to stage 4, it's like, almost incurable. So again, I'm down again and going through the doctors are telling me all this stuff. I got to go through chemo and this and that and all that stuff. And I got to get out of the hospital. And I'm seeing everybody do videos. I mean, I spent the whole almost 2 weeks at the hospital. I'm watching YouTube videos going on and everybody's doing their own videos for me. And, that really just lifted my spirits so much. And without all of that, I don't think I could have made it through that. I mean, I felt I would have just kind of felt like this is it. My life is over almost. I got to go through all this stuff. So, well, then they scheduled the chemo. And they put a port, which I still have the port in there, which is like a thing that you have in there that's connected to my neck, so they can plug in all the stuff, the IV and stuff like that. And the doctor said, we got to start the chemo right away. You got to be, it's gonna put you down for a few days and this and that. I said, no, I'm going to the National. the doctor's like, what's the national? I'm like, it's my recovery, you know? And then when I explained the whole thing, I told him, this is how I'm going to recover. This is it. The doctor said, okay, well, wait, but you got to start the chemo. I said, right after I get back. So yeah, so I went to the national, feeling a little weak there, but it was the best time, you know, seeing everybody, getting hugs from everybody. And again, it was one of those, I was again in a high and lifting my spirits and got me ready for the next phase. So then had to, as soon as I got back, that same week that I got back, I started my chemo treatments, and that was a few months. And you know, a bunch of guys reached out to me again, Greg from Midlife, and a bunch of other guys, Mike, and tons of other guys, Petty, and I just can't go through everybody, but the Four Collectors team all got together, and you know, they created a Team Orlando, a prayer session where every Wednesday they would pray for me. And, you know, we would do the prayer session every Wednesday. And again, you know, the prayers and the support that everybody did in this community was incredible. And like I keep saying, I couldn't have done this without you guys. And it's true. You know, I mean, you know, I would go down into kind of a depression mode, and then I'd go into the prayer session, and I'd feel so much better. And went through all of the chemo sessions, finished that about a month ago. And now I started the immunotherapy. And I just, I've been doing that for, this is my third or fourth session. Every 3 weeks, I got to go through this immunotherapy. And what that is where they pump you with a medicine and stuff. It's, again, like an IV, you got to go there for a few hours in the hospital. The drug they're giving me is called Keytruda. And it's, all this is kind of like a test. A lot of these aren't even approved by the FDA yet, but they've been proven to be successful. And I'll take a step back. When I went to the National, that day of the get together, I was meeting up with one of the guys that was the Goodwin Champions guy. That I sold him some of my Goodwin Champion doubles, and he's building the set of Goodwin Champions. So I met him. He just happened to be at the Lowe's Hotel. Met him at the lobby. You know, I've talked to him before, but I've never met him in person. And as we're talking, and I'm sharing my story, and he knew pretty much my story, but as I'm sharing my story, I found out that he works for the pharmaceutical company, Pfizer. He's one of the head guys there. And he's one of the guys that sells the Keytruda drugs to the doctors. So he's an expert in this particular therapy drug that they're going to give me. And it was a godsend, because this guy is telling me everything about it, you know, the good and the bad and everything, and explaining to me and telling me about all of these people that have been successful in this immunotherapy treatment with this particular drug. And even people that have been in stage 4 lung cancer, some of them have been cured by this immunotherapy drug, Keytruda. So, you know, it's just a coincidence that here's the guy that is one of the head guys from this company. And, he, you know, I mean, I'm telling you, it was all a godsend. It just happens. And I think all the prayers, and God put him there for me at the Lowe's. And he takes me to the steakhouse. We have a great steak there, and we talk about it. He buys 2 of the cards that I had, which gives me more money to go buy more cards at the National, because I had spent my money by getting the green cob that I had and stuff. And anyway, I'm going through this immunotherapy right now. I actually went Thursday and had my last session. And the latest is they did this special test a couple of weeks ago, which is called the Signatura. It's a company called Natera, and they have the Signatera test. And it's a test that's not approved by the FDA yet, but they've tested it already on a couple 100,000 people. And they did it on me. And what they do is they get a sample of your cancer tissue that they removed from the operation. They use that as kind of a sample.
A baseline.
And a baseline, exactly. Thank you, Mike. And then they test your blood against that to see if there's any small or microscopic samples of that cancer still in your system. And the good news is it's a Christmas miracle, but there's no more cancer in my body, according to this test. And the doctor says it's a 95% accuracy test, even though it hasn't been approved by the FDA. They say that this Signatura test is probably the most accurate test there is. So as far as I know, as today, the cancer's gone. I beat the cancer. It's all been removed by this chemo and the immunotherapy. Now I still have, initially they said I was gonna be a year with this immunotherapy, but the doctor just said, we're just gonna do it for another 6 months because every test has come back that you're cured and you don't have the cancer. So the immunotherapy, what it does is it boosts my immune system, so my own immune system will attack whatever cancer is remaining. But based on this test that they did on Thursday, that they got the results on Thursday, I'm cured. And it's just a miracle. And it all comes because of you guys and, you know, just everything that I've received, the support and the prayers. I just think it's a miracle. And as far as I know right now, I'm cured of the cancer. So that's how
Orlando,
my story has been a great down and up and down. And now I'm
Hard to
as
top
good as I
that
could've
story. Orlando,
Yeah.
that's amazing. That's
Yeah.
absolutely amazing.
Orlando, what was so cool about the honor of being a part of Team Orlando, which is like the coolest team I've ever been able to be a part of. And I mean, you know how much I love you, and just
Oh man, I love you guys.
tremendous respect, tremendous. I don't know. I mean, we connect on a whole lot of levels, and not all cards, right? And
Yeah.
but when we would do these sessions, guys, most people don't know this, but like his family was there, his mom or brothers and sisters, and you know, just siblings, and we got to meet all these people. I got to ask you, Orlando, what were they? Are they like, these people are nuts, or did they think it was cool? Like, what did your family think about all these old fat people, you know, sitting around on a
Hey, watch
Zoom?
out, you.
Okay, one old fat person and everybody else.
I fill the quota of old and fat, Mike, so I'm good with it.
What'd your family think?
I get emotional. Thank you, guys. I tell you, they were in shock, you know, and they're not big fans of my YouTube channel. They don't watch it too much. So they had no idea that I had people literally from all over the world that were supporting me. You know, I mean, you got Carl from Australia, you got JP Wisco from Japan, and you have Dylan from Hawaii, and all of you guys that you know, they were just in shock that I had so many friends that they didn't even know about, and they had no idea how close we were. And when I told my mom about it, and you know, I showed them all the video that you guys did, they were like, you know, they were literally crying, you know, because they thought it was just us, the family, that was involved. And I told them, look, this is my YouTube family. My entire family is my YouTube family. And you guys were our family. I consider you guys family. And they were just, they couldn't believe it. They just could not believe that I had so many people from all over the States and all over the world, literally, that knew me and knew what I was going through, and that supported me, and that contacted me and did videos for me. And it opened up a whole new world, I think, for them. And now, you know, I've got my sisters watching my videos, and you know, my daughter was the only one really that watched videos, and she was the one that, when I was in the hospital, she was the one that would let everybody know what's going on and give updates, because I couldn't do much, and she would answer all of the comments that were left there. And I just got to thank her for doing that. But I'm just blessed to be part of this community and have everybody.
Thank her for us, because she gave us the news that you had come through the surgery. that night. We were all sort of waiting from the morning all the way until the night, and she was the one that gave us the news that that you would come through and that you're okay, and that was kind of a big deal for the community to just hear that. And we knew we wouldn't hear from you, but we got it from her, and that was really appreciated.
Yeah, and the last thing I wanted to show is this.
Yeah.
That Scott did for me. Again, that's another one of the incredible things that this community has ever done. And for Scott to do this Tejigo with my favorite Cuban player, one of my favorite players ever, and to also donate all the money proceeds from this card that he made to cancer research. I mean, that just says everything about the community. Yeah.
I just there was one thing that I'm pretty sure raised your spirits that you left out from the national, and that was that Mangini picked up the check at the lunch we had on Friday.
Oh yeah, of course. That was an incredible lunch. I had never been there, and the first
John
time
was in the chat. I don't know what happened to him.
Yeah.
Maybe he's going out to buy somebody else lunch. No, I'm just kidding. The thing that Scott did, which it was like months later, and then all of a sudden we get this video from you showing that awesome piece of art, and then we all got an opportunity to buy some of the cards, which I got 2 of them. One I put the little Reindeer Studios thing up top there, and so that was really nice. That
I've got one of the numbered ones signed from Orlando. I've got 2 as well.
Oh yeah, mine's only signed. Mine's only signed from Scott. Orlando, you got to sign this to me at Strongsville.
I'll have to sign it. And then Daniel gives me this award of the Man of the Year award. And I know Dan made fun of it, but this is a pretty good, and it's heavy. It's a real award. I'm telling you, it's like almost like getting an Oscar,
Can we melt it down and maybe buy a cob with it, Orlando?
It's heavy as hell. I don't know what it's made of, but it's and just to, it's not a big thing, but just for him to do that and tell me that I'm the Man of the Year, I'm going, sure, thanks. It was just awesome. I couldn't believe that he would even do that. So just like I said, a lot of love from this community, and I just, there's not enough words or not enough love that I can give back. But I'm gonna try at Strongsville. I'll make sure everybody gets a big hug from me, and I love you guys, and I just couldn't have gone through all this without you. That's pretty much all I could say.
I think it's fair to say Mike and I were just on another channel, and we were talking about the community in general. If you were to join this community, this is a pretty heavy indication of some of the goodwill that gets expended by every individual within the community. Of course, there's always going to be some negative things, but I think the positive far outweighs anything when it comes to this community, which is rare online, as we discussed earlier, Mike.
Mi hermano siempre.
So I need closed captioning for that.
All right,
Orlando and I just do the rest of this in Spanish.
I'd be impressed if you could. Can you pull it off? Full blown?
Repetirlo todo en español ahora, lo que pasó. No.
Yeah, see, Orlando wants to do it too. So
I just said, let me just go ahead and tell the whole story in Spanish.
yeah.
All right, so let's move on to somebody else, man.
Yes. I now I feel now I have to pass the torch to Aaron, and Aaron has to follow that up.
Good luck. Good luck, Aaron.
My internet's going down. I'm sorry.
The greatest news ever, and now we're going to throw it to you, Aaron.
So yeah, I was trying to think of there is no transition. There is nothing of just that is mic drop, and then you're cleaning up afterwards, basically. So
all right.
No, I will say, listening to Orlando's story, talk about just hobby and how much joy there is to it, and just listening to your narrative of visiting doctors, treatments, big card show, visiting doctors, treatments, big card show, and that's your mapping of your year, and it's just so inspiring just how just I don't know, just how much joy you get from the hobby and from the community of everybody. So thank you for that. And I will say that the impact of walking Strongsville with you and then finding out after the fact what you knew at Strongsville was tough to process, honestly. Just, wish I would have given you an extra hug and, spent an extra 5 minutes with you and known different words to give you. But yeah, amazing to share time with you now and the status you're at. So it's wonderful.
So Aaron, I invited you on this show because you were the impetus of one of my favorite stories of the year. My favorite good guys story. About a month ago, we talked about it because we did a show on the cash-ins, the 29 cash-in. And I know that and we talked about, Orlando was talking about friendships. And this to me was one of those friendship moments that really kind of moved me. And it's about a card. It's not about life and death, but it's about a card. So it's not as serious, certainly. But I think it's instructive on how the community can come together to help one guy get a card because another guy did something cool for him. So I know you are a modest guy. You are not a braggart. You're not a guy who's gonna wave your hand and stuff. You're a modest guy and tough negotiator, but a modest guy.
I got to see that. That was a lot of fun.
That was fun.
But why don't you tell us from your vantage point how Jason ended up with that wonderful card that he got at Strongsville?
Well, yeah, I don't know. I almost feel like it's not even. It was nothing. I think most of us would do that, and I think that's the situation we're in. But basically we became fast friends, and the last show you guys are doing, I put in the comments, it's almost like you're in a pledge class. So I was in a fraternity in college, and you're acclimated with everybody. They're all friends, but the people that are with you as you're growing, and Jason was definitely ahead and a little bit of a mentor, but we became kind of fast friends, and a lot of the same questions, a lot of the same phase, a lot of the same, what are you doing for this kind of find outs as we're growing and figuring this stuff out. So yeah, I mean, we were fast friends and texting regularly and talking on the phone. And so I knew one of his target cards, one of his big cards, was to come up with a Babe Ruth playing days card. And ideally, I think Cashin was at least probably top of the list, or at least near the top of the list. Great image, great set, great everything. And so, yeah, we were kind of surfing, and it was probably a little premature. He was saying, like, that's going to be my Strongsville pickup. That's going to be Strongsville. I'm saving. That's which a lot of people do. Everyone kind of says they go into like savings mode for the big show, and Strongsville, and then the National, and then Christmas is probably the spending sprees of the year. So I knew it was probably a little bit premature, but we saw this deal on Facebook, and I said, that's a really nice looking example. That's a really nice looking card. And so I reached out to Jason and said, what do you think of this one? This one fit the bill? And basically just, yeah, nice, great fit, great card, but not great timing. So yeah, I mean, I think that was probably about it from our end. And so, I mean, I kind of had to weigh and figure out the risk of things. I was going to just keep it as a complete surprise and just show up and say, like, so what do you want this one? But I started getting nervous that Jason might, find one 2 weeks before Strongsville and pull the trigger, because that seems to be the way it goes. Is all of a sudden something pops up, you're like, yeah, I got one. You're like, dang it! All right, so now I don't need it. So I'm sitting here with one. So by the time I had that one, I'm like, well, now I have two. So I don't need two. But yeah, just kind of on my own thought process. I think I thought that was too good of a deal. It was too right of a card, too right of a situation, that it was worth taking the risk and just pulling the trigger, and it worked out for him.
He's way too modest, Dan. Way too modest. So let me give you my perspective.
Card for you.
Let me give you my perspective, because it's way more intense than that. So Aaron and I had met at the 2024 Strongsville Aaron?
Yeah. Yep.
Right. So I had been a fairly new channel and hadn't, never had anybody come up to me. And Aaron and I have a mutual friend, lifelong friend to Aaron, Joe. Joe and Aaron were kind of local to Chicago. They were just over the border in Indiana. That's considered Chicago suburbs to a lot of people. So Joe approached me and said, "Hey, I follow your channel. I might have had 100 subscribers then." And I said, "Oh, you do? Well, let's go hang out." So, you're the first person ever to do this to me. So, introduce yourself. I saw Mike Good in the last live we did. Said, "Have you ever met anybody that you didn't want to talk to?" Well, in my case, no. I don't have 10,000 subscribers. I have 700. So if someone comes up to me and says hello, hey, well, let's go hang out. Let's go have a drink. So that was my approach. So Joe came up to me and introduced himself to me, and Aaron was with him. Aaron was actually quite quiet when we first met. What I learned by hanging out with them for a day and a half at the show is how they collect and how amazing their collections were. And Joe, or maybe even you, said, "Aaron, I'm thinking about starting a channel." And when I started talking to you about what you were collecting, I'm like, "You have to start a channel with what you have." I'm like, "This is crazy." It's a collection that I dream of having. So, we met in 2024, had our brief introduction. He started his channel through our channels. We had built upon the friendship, got closer, talked quite a bit and all that stuff. So we come around to 2025 Strongsville. He knows what my target card is. And, I jokingly say, and I know Mike even, he said it on his channel, you get over $200 on a card, you have to think about it. It's not, we're paying a lot for some of this cardboard. So, I've got young kids just finishing college and things that I have to take care of. And so anything over 200 is a thought process for me. Anything within 4 digits is a real thought process for me. That's a real, plan out ahead of time kind of thing. And there's no shame in that game. Some can afford some cards, you can still have an amazing collection in that fashion. So I was in full blown savings mode. And Aaron shot me the card and said, "Hey, what do you think of this one? It's perfect." And I said, "That's fantastic. I just can't right now. I've got to wait till Strongsville. If it's not at Strongsville, then, I'll look for something else." That's just the way the ball bounces. So we had talked, we talked quite a bit. We talked a couple times on the phone. And the last time I finally get off the phone with them, and I walked upstairs, and now we're going on maybe knowing each other for 8 or 10 months at the most, Aaron. And I told my wife, I said, "I think this guy's buying this card for me." And she said, what? And I said, "I think he's pulling the trigger on this card and then allowing me to save for it." And she's like, "No, I said, I swear, Jen." And he didn't tip me off to that at all. Jennifer's my wife, by the way. And he didn't tip me off on that at all. And then 3 or 4 days later, he said, "Hey, listen, no pressure. I bought the card. If you're interested, it's yours at what I paid for it. If you're not, don't worry about it." And of course, the response is, "Well, of course I'm interested. It's a perfect card for my collection." And so, a guy that I've known, I have friends that I've known literally since I was 4 years old that wouldn't pull the trigger on that for me. So I'm like, so I was a little stunned and a little shell shocked, and it became my story of 2025 and how I built a friendship and what people are willing to do. And then I went ahead and the one thing that will make them mad is I did go ahead and get it graded. So, it's my first playing days Ruth. I gotta get it graded, but I went ahead and got it graded, and
gorgeous,
beautiful card. Yeah, absolutely love it. I think you have that and the Garrett, correct, Mike? I think you have both. You got it. Didn't you get that at the Basement Collection or the Dave Collection, the Monster Collection?
The Grail Collection.
The Grail Collection.
Yeah, the Grail. Yeah.
Yeah. So that is my Plain Days Ruth, which in my lifetime had this connection not happened through YouTube, I probably still wouldn't have one, quite honestly. And what it's done, and we were talking about channels that have influenced me. I mentioned the channels that got me started. Orlando and Sammy and Alex Bowman 53 were influential in starting my channel, and Mangini and Rick I've learned so much from. But I mentioned Aaron because my shift in collecting has done a drastic 180 since I've met Aaron, and it's like the first time collecting like a kid again. I'm loving what I'm seeing. I'm taking different paths, learning different stuff. And so the influence of Aaron and my friend Joe, and there's another guy that a core group of guys that we talk to quite a bit. He's done quite a drastic shift in his collecting as well, probably bigger than me. And he's full board into that shift, and it's just a lot of fun. So that's the friendship that we had. I was stunned. I was astonished and very grateful. So, I mean, that's what this community does. You know, if you bring it all back together, lemon out of lemonades for Mike, the amazing story of what Orlando's conquered, and then us, building a friendship within the span of less than a year that's going to last a lifetime. This is what we're talking about for 2025. These are the positive things.
Well, and I met Jason at Mike's get together at the 2024 National.
2023 Orlando.
23 National.
Yeah, I didn't even have a channel yet.
Exactly. And I told you need to get the channel, and he ends up getting the channel. But again, it goes through Mike and his get together back in 2023.
Yep. Yeah, I mean, it was just amazing to me because, living in Chicago, it was in Chicago. I went there for one day. I'd never in my life thought I'd go to the National or any show for more than one day. Like that, my way of collecting that was insane. Like, why would you even do that? And quickly realized, well, now I know why. It's the community, it's the hangout, it's the getting to see the guys. Like, I go to the National. Quite honestly, the National is overwhelming for me. I prefer Strongsville. I would cut the National to a day or two. And I've talked about that. But what I might do is still take the days off because it's in my hometown and just hang out with everybody, or take anybody downtown. Hey, you guys want to go to dinner downtown? I'm driving. Let's go. That's
dude. Let's talk about modest, Jason. You're the guy that drove everybody around this year. So.
Oh, but Scott did that in Cleveland. That way it was just my turn. I had to do it. So.
If it's ever in Dallas, I'm driving
multiple people to different airports, and I know you drove me twice. I can tell you that. So thank you for that.
I don't even remember when we went to dinner. Yeah, that's right.
One thing that's cool. We're talking about. Let me interrupt, Dan, real quick.
Go ahead, Mike. Go ahead.
I get more excited seeing someone else get a card that they've been looking for a long time than me getting a card. I like getting cards, no doubt. But it's so much cooler to see your friends or be a part of your friends getting cards. And I've, had the, smaller but fun, I found a card that somebody was looking for. And I'm like, hey, come over here, check this out, and they're tickled pink that they found it. And seeing other people, like, just show me your stuff. I don't need to, who cares what I got? I want to see Orlando's green cob, or I want to, all of that. And it's just, I'm the Walter Johnson auto. Remember that, Orlando, when you got that?
Yeah.
Dude, you're killing me. That is so freaking cool. And
that was the Cleveland National, right, Orlando?
Yeah.
What?
Cleveland National was the Walter Johnson auto?
Cleveland National, yeah. No, and at Strongsville, when Aaron came up to me and said, look, I picked up the Cap Anson, the 1888 Cap Anson. I'm like, oh, wow, awesome. Because, I had that. He's seen it in my videos. Yeah. And he comes, the joy in his face when he got that Cap Anson and he comes and shows this to me. I mean, that's the beautiful part of the hobby. Yeah, and you're right, Mike. I got more excited when Aaron got his, and I think when I got mine.
What other community out there does that, where we're happy for everyone else? Everybody wants to tear each other down, and Jason was saying it on the other stream. Everybody wants to just find things wrong with life, and there's plenty of that in the world. But I think, as a community, do an amazing job of lifting each other up. Orlando's the pinnacle story of that, the pinnacle example of how we can rally around one of our brothers. And I don't know another hobby or community that would be, maybe I'd like to think humanity was that good, but I'm around humanity every day, as we all are. And unfortunately, it's just unique. We have a unique, very special thing here. And I am honored to be a part of it, as I know we all are. I'm just a dude, right? I'm just a dude that likes buying cards of dead dudes in tight pants, right? I mean, but without Orlando, I don't buy this card,
Yeah, that's right. He doesn't know anything about these Cuban cards.
That set's taken off too right now.
Yeah. And that's a beautiful Garrett card. That's awesome.
Boy Garrett, from my second home favorite country, Cuba, and like just Orlando. We saw these at Strong's. Remember, Darren bought
Right.
the.
Darren bought the
So jealous.
DiMaggio.
Masha, yeah.
But we all know what each other got. That's so good. How do I know that Darren got a DiMaggio propaganda, you know? Because I watch his stuff and I love it, and I saw it there and I was jealous, but in a wonderful way, not in a bad way, just in a dude, that's so awesome that you got that card. And it made me want to go get one myself, you know. So
look at Dan that's the card I want, the second year Dihigo card.
yeah.
Well, I'm sorry, Orlando.
It's Caramelo Deportivo.
I would give you the clothes off my back, but I'm not giving you the
I don't blame you. That's a super tough card.
But
yeah,
it's
and I got it from Mike's point is that I would not own that card. I would not have that special memory. I would not have even known about it if not for you. And one of the things, you know, you were talking about early days of the channel. My channel's been around for about 2.5 years. The first 2 YouTubers that agreed to go on my channel when I had about 50 subscribers were Scott from Reindeer Studios and Orlando. And both of them didn't know me from Uncle. They knew me as a commenter, and they knew me from Alex Bowman 53, the every Sunday night thing. But they didn't know me from Uncle, and they both came on my channel. And you know, I will never forget that kind of, you know, sacrifice for a stranger. And, you know, we became fast friends. And to me, that's exactly what you're talking about, is not only has this community been great for me as a person and great for me to make such great friends, but, you know, I mean, it's also had a byproduct of giving me a collection, giving me a focus for my collection, giving me information. And, you know, I'm an information guy, I'm a history guy, and that's what my channel's about. But a lot of that stuff comes from other guys. Like I just had Drew on my channel for the second time, and Drew is fantastic. I mean, this guy is just such a good person, and it comes through so much on the screen. And he's able to talk about these experiences, and they mean something. They become meaningful experiences. They're not just, you know, a guy on a piece of cardboard. They're a meaningful life experience. And that, if we can express that on our channels through our friends, that to me is priceless. So yes, what I wanted to do, my channel has grown a little bit. Yeah, not as much as others, but anyway, what I wanted to do is my thinking is that I love when good things happen to good guys. Good things happen to good people. I want you guys, well, don't go around the horn. If you can think off the top of your head, a shout out to 1 or 2 people in the hobby that good things happen to this year that you want to shout out. That's all. Aaron, do you have anybody?
Well, I mean, I think 2 folks that I've connected with a lot, leave Jason aside. Matt, the card story, definitely, I've been inspired by his collecting journey and some of the decisions he's making, for sure. A lot of fun connecting with him. And Doug, Joe Wood Collector, is always talk about somebody to learn from, just the deep dive and some of the players that I'm less familiar with, and his knowledge. He's always somebody I can text and learn from. So I'll start with those 2.
Perfect.
Awesome. Orlando?
Well, a guy that I met at a card show, Phil Gary. Phil Gary was a dealer doing a small little card shop over in Apopka, Florida. And, you know, he recognized me from the channel, came up to me and talked to me about Cuban cards. And, you know, he wrote a couple books on it. And I told him, boy, you're so knowledgeable. He knew so much. And I told him to start a YouTube channel. And he just finally started a YouTube channel now. And there's just so many guys, you know, Ash from Legacy Cards. He was in the prayer group. We've become good friends. You know, I bought and sold cards to him and from him. And, you know, and just great guys out there that just, you know what I collect. You know, I got to give a quick shout out to Mark, Dodgers Cards. He got me this Armando Marsans, the only one in existence, the Wild Baking Armando Marsans card. And there's only one of these out there. And he saw it on Facebook Marketplace and texted me and said, "Hey, that's your car. It needs to be in your collection." Got me in contact with the guy and ended up doing the deal. And those are the things in this community that I love. Just and Doug, Joe Wood Collector, and Chris from Missouri. It's just so many good people. And Chris's friend Coop. We met, had lunch, and there's great guys out there that don't even do YouTube. And we got to get some of these guys. Carl from Australia, I mentioned him before. We spent some time at Strongsville and at the National, and you've got guys like Mike Petty, who I've known Mike now going on 2 years, and he wanted to go on a live stream, and I didn't do live streams, and he's like, I want to go on a live stream with you, and I said, well, I don't do it on my channel, and I contacted Lou Rock and told Lou Rock, Lou, we got to get this guy on a live stream. And Lou's like, who is this guy? I don't know. Well, maybe we'll do that. And he passed up, and he didn't want him on his live stream either. And finally, Petty now is a superstar. And guys like
don't do it.
Yeah,
and guys like Dave Bauer, who you saw Craig's video on his collection. Here's a guy that I met at the National. Comes up to me and says, I want to show you some of my collection. And he has a little fanny pack there with some cards and starts pulling out, the 52 Manor, the 7.5, and the Jackie and the Ty Cobb. And I'm like, wow, they just come up to you, people that you never know, and you never expect anything. And all of a sudden, we all become great friends, and Darren and Dean, Dean and I have texted a lot, and he collects Cuban cards now, and he collects the Venezuelan retirados, which I've gotten into also because of him and because of other guys, So I think this community is just, I can go on and name different people, different experiences, but without this YouTube community, there's a lot of stuff that would have never happened in my life. And it's the best thing that's ever happened in my life.
Jason, who you got to shout out?
Yeah, I second all of those that Aaron said and Orlando said. I think I really hope, if you guys get the chance, check out Phil Gary's channel. His knowledge is extreme, and he knows so much, and he's just he still works in the hobby, so to speak, and he's written books, and I can't give him enough praise. He collects a lot, like the way that I want to collect and have been started to collect. So you definitely need to check out Phil Gary's channel. I think it's important to recognize when we're all sitting here, even on the last stream that Mike and I were on, that the community just does not consist of people who are making videos. We have a lot of loyal viewers who view all of our channels, and I think it's important to recognize those people as well. Carl being one of them. Carl's talking about starting a channel, but he flew from Australia to Strongsville in the National and just threw himself out there, and he's a staple part of this community. Petty obviously was another one. There are people out there, eBay, who sent you a real nice comment. You said at the beginning, Dan, he is a loyal viewer. Sven is a loyal viewer and military man, so we got to respect him for that. But I see all of these people who support these channels, and I thrive off of my comments. I'm not a big channel, so I enjoy the comments. And when I see them from loyal viewers, I have to give them as much respect, if not more, than the guys who are making videos, because they're just out there doing it and they're supporting us. So guys like Sven, Brian Kane, Carl, all of those viewers who some of them become YouTubers and create their own channel, which is awesome as well. I want to give them a shout out as well and recognize that without them, we'd be talking to the screen and just the five of us. So I think they're a big part of it as well.
Yeah, let me add one more guy on there, which I can't forget, and that's Tony Southern Collector. Tony came down to South Florida in February, and he was going out to FAU where his daughter was going to school. And, he said, let's meet up. And we met up. And it's the first time I had met him. We spent the day together. And, we hit it off immediately. And, this is a guy that, I talk to and we text a lot. And when he was getting that Josh Gibson card, he called me and he said, listen, I want to talk to you about this. Do you think I should get it? And all this and that. And that's the other thing that I love is when people reach out to you and just, they want to hear your opinion and they want you to help them out and give them ideas. And so Tony Southern Collector, I love that guy. He's one of the best guys out there, and great collection, but even better person.
Absolutely.
Mike, what do you got?
Yeah, that's true of pretty much everybody, right? Tony, great collection, better person, right? And if I get hit by the turnip truck, I hope you guys say I don't want to be known because I had a great card collection. Sure.
Wait, you have a great card collection?
I don't know. It's a great collection for me, Dan. How about that? But for me, like Carl, we've been talking about Carl. He came here. He called me. Hey, I'm going to be in, your area. Can I come over? And I'm like, heck yeah, you can come over. And Carl and I had met at the National and Strongsville and some other places, but we weren't like good friends. But man, we had a blast hanging out, and we only got to hang out for a few hours. But having him over, I got to go to Tony's house last month. Not Tony's house. Tony, Southern Collector. I went to his house last month. I was the first guy to see his card room, and I'm like honored to get to see his card room and talk through stuff, and just those, again, the in-person stuff, way better, right? When you can, this is fine. We got to do this in the interim before we get together again, right? I want to have Orlando up here. He's coming to see me. He doesn't know it yet, but I'm getting him up here to come hang with me, and just love the interaction. Like Jason said, Ruben Snyder is a great dude. He's snarky. I just love his snarkiness, and but we collect a lot alike, and just there's so many ways to connect with people, both collecting, and then you take it to personal, and you find out, yeah, my kids are the same age, or this or that. Pick your thing, right? We do the same job. So many ways to connect with people. This is a vessel for that, right? Because last I checked, God's currency is people. It is not how many cards you have, or who has the best collection, or who has the most Mickey Mantles, or any of that. We are made to connect with each other, right? And so that is the currency that I want to, develop the most in this community, is the people part of it. The cards are great, and that's the vessel. That's the starting point, but it's so much more than that. And you guys know, we just told stories tonight about how that's true. And we spent the whole last hour talking about how that's true. And
Right.
It's a great time at the end of the year to reflect on that, and to certainly think how much better and great, despite all. I love how Dan started this whole thing with, we're not going to talk about any of the shill bidding and all I heard was comments of, when that happened, I'm getting out of the hobby. This sucks. I hate this, blah, blah, whatever. I'm like, well, then that's a you problem. That's not the hobby doesn't have to be that. You have to let that bother you. You don't have to let that stuff bother you. You can, or you can go, you know what? Well, Mike, shouldn't you care? It's not, unawareness is not the same as not caring. I'm aware, and I choose not to do certain things. Dan and I talked about this on the phone the other day. We were both, I don't know who was bitching more, me or Dan. We were both like,
you man.
I think I was bitching more, but but we don't have to let it bother. We were more mad that it's bothering other people. I was more mad that people are letting it bother them and driving them out of hobby. I'm like, that's the dumbest thing I've ever heard. I can zig and zag and get around all this stuff. You don't have to use PSA. You can enjoy the hobby so many ways. We see that all the time, and people let stuff bother them. I'm getting on a rant now. This should be its own video, but I don't know. I'm grateful for everybody here. We all have great collections for us. We all have things that we, enjoy, but it's the people that matter. Period, paragraph, end of story. Drop the mic.
Correct.
So I don't want to I hope he's still in the chat. There's a guy that I joke around with all the time, and I know Jason and he go back and forth. And Mike, you do a show with him. It's Chris from Missouri, and for all of the stuff that Chris jokes around and we joke around with him, this is such a good guy, and I experienced that very recently. I went through a bit of a dark period in the hobby about a month ago with some issues that only a few people know about. And I think Chris actually caught wind of that and gave me a call out of the blue, just called me up just to try to make me feel better. And then he did a video in his car where he talked about the stuff you were just talking about, Mike, which is to stay away from all the negativity, try to avoid all the news stories that are making you feel bad about the hobby, and think about the good people that you're friends with, the people who you talk to, the cards that you have, the experiences that you had, exactly what we're talking about in this video. And I had written out a negative video. I had planned to do a negative video, and I had it scripted out. And I called Chris, and I said, Chris, your video made me not do this bad video and completely change and do a positive, history video, positive stuff. And now that script for that is now scrap paper. And that's because Chris took me out of a dark place and brought me into a positive place. And I cannot say how much that helped me. And he doesn't even know this. And I'm telling him right now, I hope he's in the chat, but he had that influence on me, and it just changed like that, my viewpoint. And it was just a phone call to a friend, a phone call from a friend, and a video that he made about, having the right approach when it comes to this hobby. And I have to thank him, and I have to thank him publicly for doing that. The other person I want to shout out is thank you, Chris, and he is in the chat. Thank you.
He must have just figured out how to type back, because that had to take at least a half an hour. I love you too, Chris.
He had to get his wife to type for him.
Right.
So if any of you watched Hobby Hotline on Saturday, I'm going to be repeating myself, but about a year ago, I got a call out of the blue from Theo. Theo called me out of the blue and said, hey, the guys got together, we voted, and we unanimously want you to join For Collectors. And I was like, yes. I couldn't say yes soon enough, because I had done guest appearances on the show. I'd done some live streams, as you guys know. Mike, Orlando, I think all of you guys were on them. And suddenly I was invited into this group, and it became public and official on February 1st of 2025. And it changed my hobby life. And I am now friends with all these guys that I, was sort of friends with before, but we talk all the time. I've gotten to do collaborations with such great people. I've got to go on this channel, once a month live, once a month, pre-recorded. We got to do the trade nights in Strongsville, the trade night at the National. It's such a great experience, and it's really just three-dimensionalized, so to speak, my hobby, being a member of For Collectors. And that's all because of a phone call from Theo. And what was great about that is at the end of the year, I got another phone call from Theo saying, hey, man, I just wanted to tell you this, that I got a job offer from Jeremy at CIA Auctions, and I'm going to start working for CIA Auctions. And sure enough, he's now working for CIA Auctions and doing a fantastic job. As you guys know, the Godfather collection came in, he and Greg got together, and that was just a really, really special thing. But Theo gave me such good karma early in the year, and then it all came back to him by the end of the year, and he deserves it. So I really want to shout out Theo. There's a couple other guys I want to shout out. Neil and Ray put together the YouTube get together in Philly, and we had a fantastic time. First time they did it, 9 guys showed up. Second time they did it, 47 guys showed up. So hopefully a couple of years from now, they'll be kicking us out of the hotel, and we'll be doing pizza on the grass. I don't mean that.
Bad joke, Dan.
Too soon.
And one other guy is Dan. Still City DW. is in the chat now. I met him for the first time at Strongsville, and we didn't, I don't know, do we have some sort of disagreement about a card or whatever? And then at the National, he invited me up into his room with a bunch of other guys to eat pizza and hang out, and that was fun. And then at the Philly show, we got to spend some time, just he and I just chatting. And such a solid guy, a veteran, a United States American hero, and just a terrific guy. So I wanted to shout out Dan, because maybe the first time we met, we didn't hit it off, but we hit it off since then. And just such a good guy. So those are my guys to shout out. So
we're really good. This community is really good at weeding out the dipshits. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, you won't last long if you're going to get called out. You're going to get seen through, and that's kind of cool that they don't last long, except Mike Petty. He's the one that's lasted. But he's like, the fun brother, the fun uncle, that you go to a party with and you're like, let's see what he's going to say. But there's just so many good people, so many good things happening. We know each other. We love each other. And this is turning into a complete kumbaya session. But I'm glad, Dan, that you didn't do that video. That would have, been against your character, truthfully. And that would have made me disappointed. And you would have had a lot of people calling you out too. Right. All my really dumb video ideas, I send to my friends first. And I'm like, should I put this out? And almost universally, it's like, no, do not do that. And no, Garrett's in here right now. He's one of my biggest sounding boards. And it's like, I'll be like, hey, should I do this? He's like, nah, probably not. But he doesn't say it that way. I'm being really and we need that, right? I need that. I need people that'll tell me the truth. I need people that'll be honest with me. And Chris was honest with you, Dan, about just wanting to help you out. And Chris and I talk almost every day. We call each other on our ways to work, and we spend our time going to work talking to each other just about every morning. And it used to be Garrett, but then Garrett got a night job, so I can't talk to him in the morning anymore. So, but I talk to card guys every day. Orlando talks to card guys every day, right? Jason, you probably do too. Aaron, you do too. Dan, you do too. And if you're out there and you don't do that, be a part of the community. We're welcoming you with open arms. You are welcome here.
Let's not forget the biggest drama of the year, I think, was Mike show bidding Garrett up on those autograph cards.
Dude, don't bring that up. It's still a sore subject.
We're supposed to stay hobby positive, Orlando.
I'm sorry, but with Garrett in the chat, I had to say that.
I show bid my friend.
I can honestly tell you there's so much positivity. It's so overwhelming at times. If you're on more than one text thread and I'm on like 5 or 6, and you walk away for the phone for about 4 hours, you come back to 200 text messages. I can't even keep up with it. Like, there are certain threads, and Aaron's on one of them. He knows I'm not ignoring you guys. I just can't even keep up with what's going on. I'll leave for an hour, come back. There's 200 comments. I'm like, I can't go back and read this. We actually got together and said, let's get on a StreamYard and just chat, so we could all just kind of catch up and do it at one time, which we did a couple weeks ago, right, Aaron? I think we did one.
Yeah, I love seeing the text when somebody's been gone for a little bit and just says, I'm not going to read all that, what I missed.
That's
because
exactly what I
don't want the back and forth. They just need the recap of like, I bought a card. Okay, cool, great.
Right.
Can I just, somebody's mentioned this in the chat. I know, Mike, you were on his show maybe a month ago, is Matt from Straight Race Cards. I watch his channel. I watch every one of his videos because he just has such a good soul about him. Every time he opens his mouth, he's just, the good things come out. And he just seems to be such a good person. And he puts these videos together talking about people, talking about them as people. And I know, Mike, you were on it, and I watched it, and it was a great video. And I watched this series, and Matt is just like, I think he's one of these like up and coming guys that people are going to soon realize he's going to have thousands of subscribers just to say, like to listen in and feel good stuff. It's feel good, and it's about people, and it's also about cards. Yeah, there's cards in it, but I just thoughtful and intentional, Absolutely.
He
Great
came to
young
my
collector,
house.
great channel. Absolutely. So just a
Daniel
shout out to
loved
him.
it. He came to my
I've
house.
never talked to Matt. I've never met him, but I love his channel.
He's awesome. He came over a couple weeks ago and we just sorted cards and put sets in binders. We sat in my kitchen table and literally for a couple hours. And then I had to leave to go to, my sister was retiring as a teacher, as a principal. And I had to go to a retirement ceremony thing. And I just left Matt here. Like here, he could have absconded. It was just him. He could have taken everything that he wanted. Of course, I knew he would not do that. He is as good as get. And I come back and I'm like, how much did you? I was expecting him to do like 2 or 3 sets. He had not even finished one set. And I'm like, Matt, come on, man. But he is he's learning a lot. He's the real deal kind of guy.
Yeah. Great guy. He's been on Instagram for a while. And when he kicked off his channel, I was excited for him. And we've been trying to get him on Cardboard and Cold Ones a couple times. I think we've chatted. You know, we got to get him on. So
great, that would be a great guest. Well, gentlemen, we're at 1 hour and 20 minutes, and wow, that's cool. A dog ate my card. Matt sent a homemade card from his sons. That's really cool. I love that. Yeah. So I mean, there's so many great things to talk about this year. Scott Reindeer Studios made this of Yogi Berra. And at the trade night, Leighton Sheldon bought it for me. I didn't ask him. I just told him I loved it. And then the next thing he walks over with it and says, it's yours. I mean, how do you, what do you say? I mean, just, you know, people have done such tremendous things for other people in this hobby this year. And I'm, you know, just happy and proud and fortunate to be part of it. And if there's anything I take out of 2025, it's that, you know, the guys are going to be there for you. The guys are going to be there for you in many different ways, and ways that we won't even imagine. I don't have any predictions for 2026, but I know that guys are going to do good stuff for each other. And that's something that I can predict. And I'm confident that it's going to come true. So, Aaron, any last words, sir?
Well, I was going to say, it's way too funny you just showed Yogi Berra, because I actually have a Christmas gift Yogi Berra shirt on. It says the future ain't what it used to be. And,
well said. Perfect.
Going into the new year, I think we can take that however we want, but I think that could be a good thing. So with all the positivity, that could be a good sign.
Orlando, I'm very, very much looking forward to seeing you at Strongsville, or well, we'll find out soon enough, or at what is it called, Independence, in a few months.
Tomorrow, stop it.
I will gladly give you a hug.
Everybody that's in the chat, everybody who's watching this has to go to Strongsville. That's the place to be. So I'll see everybody there. Jason,
any last words, sir?
No, I appreciate you having me on. I enjoyed the Kumbaya. I think we could do more of this. This is the fun of the hobby. This is what's great about it. So I appreciate you taking the time and inviting me, Dan.
Well, I knew I had the right crew here for this kind of show. Not just the stories that you have, but you know, the relationships that you guys have built amongst yourselves and with others in the hobby, and there's plenty of love to go around. But Mike, any last words?
No, I just love you guys and looking forward to 2026. We're gonna have some fun. Well,
you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna put the outro in. Oh, the outro's already in. You guys know, stick around. The outro is 28 seconds long. When it ends, it throws us all out, but I'll bring us all back in so we can say goodbye.
All right.
Chat, you have been awesome tonight. Absolutely awesome. Again, many friends in the chat. Eddie, I didn't point you out, but you're a funny guy, and I loved your chats just now. And a whole bunch of other guys. I look forward to seeing all of you guys in a few months. Some of you guys I'm going to see in Philly in March. There's a White Plains show in January. I know I'm going to see Sammy and probably Mookie, hopefully. And then Philly in March, and then of course Strongsville in April. So anyway, the four of you gentlemen, I value my friendship with you. You're all hobby heroes to me. in many different ways. And I thank you so much for coming on this stream. And we will see you guys later.
Love my hobby. Keep collecting baseball cards. Mike.
But hey, we want to keep the lights on here at Four Collectors Studios, so hit the like button for us, guys.
So thanks everybody for coming, and we'll see you next time on Four Collectors.
All right, guys, have a great rest of your night. Subscribe to the Four Collectors channel if you haven't done so yet, and see you soon.
All right, guys. Clemente Collector has said we hit a grand slam, so that makes me feel good.